It's not throwing any error. So maybe it is, yeah. You are recording this meeting. Sure, everyone knows like that it is showing. Very good. So recording is started. So from here, we'll start what is DNS. Domain name system. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Domain name system. Port number 53. Port number 53. It maps name to IP address. What name? Domain names. Actually, domain names and hosts in the domain name. Okay, what are the data? So domain wise. Okay, so whatever it is, the name is easy to tell. So maps name to IP address. When a client means anyone, required a IP address of a host in domain request go to DNS server. DNS server returns IP address of the host. Okay, the IP address of the host. It means I don't know IP address of remote machine. I'll get a IP address from DHCP server. Sorry, DNS server. Okay, my mind is also not working properly or what? Okay, DNS server. So last time, one or two batches also they ask one question. What is the difference between DHCP and DNS? DHCP also giving IP address. DNS is also giving IP address as per the statements. But DHCP not giving you IP address. It is giving, meaning is it is assigning an IP address. So your system don't have IP address. You got IP address from the DHCP server. In this one, when you are communicating from one system to another system with a name, so you don't know IP address of that system. So we'll ask DNS server for a IP address. Okay, there is some example explanation is there. So I will tell one how it is works with an example, and also we'll compare with a mobile phone contact. Okay. For example, in my system, I put a youtube.com or a google.com, right? So, or a w3schools.com. These are all with a name communication only. We think it is a only domain name, but it is like a www is there now. It is comes under host kind of stuff only, but different ways. But this is full name. It is fqdn. It's a domain, and this is in a host part of URL type. There are several things also there, but see, we are trying to communicate with the names only. For example, in browser, I open www.google.com. So point here it is, always remember all communications with IP address only. So you cannot communicate names, can't communicate with the names, you can't communicate with the MAC addresses. Remember that points, that is the standard points. Few standard points are there, guys. Always like it is a formula. Okay. So what is the standard point? All communications with the IP address only, not with the name, not with the MAC address. Because people ask one question, that is, can we communicate with the MAC address? We can't communicate with the MAC address. It's just an address. It is a physical address. It is only for tally purpose only. Okay. We can't send any packet with the MAC address because we don't know, because it's not a logical address. It is a physically fixed. We don't know where it is located also. Okay. In browser, I open a www.google.com. So I don't have, or I don't know, I don't have, or I don't know IP address of google.com. I had taken a google.com because most frequently used only one website is google.com only. I don't have, I don't have, or I don't know the IP address of google.com. Then based on my network adapter, NIC, based on my network adapter, DNS server address, request goes to DNS server for IP address of www.google.com. The DNS server return means giving or responding, return or respond, returns IP address of google.com. Just for understanding only, guys, not actually, that is not a full mechanism. Full mechanism I will explain, so don't worry about it, but it is understanding of DNS. So very simple it is. In DNS server you have a google.com. Okay, so IP address is there. You ask Google DNS server, give me a IP address, you will get it, but not a full mechanism. Simply it is, we are all communicate with IP address only. You don't know the IP address of google.com, meaning is ask a DNS server, get a IP address, then communicate with google.com. IP address. Okay, so this is how it is works. Guys, understand this point up to here?
Yes, sir.
One more example, the same only. Earlier days, earlier web browsers and all, when you open any URL here, the related URLs related, when you open, so then this bottom, it shows IP address of this one. Okay, now it is not showing. Okay, if you are trying to communicate google.com, as I said, I don't know IP address of google.com. First, request go to DNS server. DNS server will give you IP address. With IP address only will communicate. See, it is first I got IP address of google.com. Then I'm communicating to google.com only. So you see, okay. So some people will want an explanation in the mobile contact. Mobile contact list is another example because of some people ask explain in the mobile contact list. Even though for interviews also people ask mobile contact list, and it is one easy example nowadays. Even though it is not correct one, but still it is very easy to understand, at least for a starting. Okay, mobile contact list. What is in a mobile contact list? Name and phone number, right? In your mobile, in a contact list, you save name and phone number. So in telephone communication, do you communicate with the names or phone numbers? I want to call you, so I want to call Rishikesh. So what I have to do? I have to know the Rishikesh phone number, then only I can call, right? I have a mobile number. I have another mobile number also. 2 mobile numbers are there. 3 mobile numbers are there. Only one mobile I can remember. Remaining 2 I can't remember. Okay, I don't know. Okay. Okay. Next, whatever I'm trying to say is, like for example, I can remember my sister's phone number, my father number, my mother phone number, but not every phone number, right? So may have a secondary phone numbers, or may have a new phone numbers. It's very difficult for me to remember all phone numbers, right? So what I will do, I'll create a contact list. In the contact list, name and phone number. So for example, I don't save your any of your phone numbers, so I will put it very easy way, like your Rutuja. It is spelling is very easy. That's why I type Rutuja. Some phone number is there. Okay, some number is there. Now in my contact list, I open Rutuja and dial. Call goes to Rutuja or phone number. Original call go to phone number only, right? So originally call goes with a phone number, but I didn't remember the phone number. I just have a contact list. Okay, so when I open in the contact list Rutuja, then my contact list returns the phone number and call goes to the phone number. So this is about your mobile contact list, which compares with the DNS server. Okay, mobile phone contact list. One of the example for a DNS server. Guys, understand up to here? Domain name
Yes,
system,
sir.
name to IP address.
Yes, sir.
All communications with a IP address only. Very good. Okay. Mobile phone contact list. But DNS not that much easy to understand because of lot of names also there, lot of things also available. Is a hierarchical distributed database. DNS is foundation of internet naming schemes. DNS support accessing resources by using alphanumeric names. DNS was created to support the internet growing number of hosts. Okay, so you can take it from here also. I am getting. Okay, so I given some statement here just for understanding. There is a word called fqdn is also there, so we'll see that one. Here it is. Already I told, I think. fqdn I told, but I will tell again. fqdn meaning is fully qualified domain name. Fully qualified domain name. Next one is NetBios. NetBios. NetBios is also named to IP address. It is also named to IP address, but not but it is not fqdns. Not fully qualified domain names, but not a fqdn. So only name, not fqdn. Okay. So no IPv6, only IPv4 support is there. Okay. At same thing, win or wins. So when we are configuring DHCP server, it is asking win server. Okay. So Windows Internet name or naming server. Okay. System or anything. So you can see win server. Type like a win server. Why it is not showing that it is a old win server? Yes, Windows Internet Name Service. This belongs to Microsoft. This is better. Win service. My Windows Internet Name Service. Now it is little okay. So what is this Win server? It uses NetBios. Meaning is name to IP address purpose only. Okay, which is it is belongs to Microsoft proprietary. Okay, it won't work with others. No fqdns. It meaning is if you are using a Windows NT 2000 time, it may require wins is enough, because that time that much architecture is not there. Okay, Windows NT time that much architecture is not there. Now it is from 2000 onwards, Active Directory, domain names, so many other things are came, PDC, BDC kind of stuff. Now it is compulsory required FQDNs, fully qualified domain names. I will explain what is fqdn, but here it is. Okay. Support IPv4 only. Meaning is no IPv6. It's a old one. Still we are not using it. Almost from 2008 onwards, the Win server not a role. In 2000 it's a role. 2008 it is role. In 2012 onwards, not a role. Okay. So Win server is a Windows Internet Naming Server. By name itself, we can understand it is belongs to Microsoft. It use NetBios kind of stuff. Use NetBios naming thing like a name to IP addresses. That is IP address is IPv4 address only, not IPv6 address. So it is a name is like a no FQDN. Again, what is NetBios? It's just a name. Okay, for example, you have a how to tell. I have a computer name. My computer name is WinC1. My domain name is domain17.com. Right? That is my domain name. This is my domain name. This is my So the NetBios computer name or computer NetBios name. NetBios name. Is computer name only. Okay. And what is the fqdn here? My computer name part17.com. Okay. So NetBios name, computer NetBios name is this one. Domain NetBios name. Domain 17. But fqdn is fully qualified domain name is like this. Means computer name plus domain name. It is your computer or a host name plus domain, entire domain name. Sometimes subdomains also there. Subdomains also there. Again, subdomain is under that one is there. Okay. Okay. So this is fqdn win server like this. So again, DNS to win server difference. So DNS support fqdn. Support. Okay, fqdn, IPv4 and IPv6 IP addresses. Okay, DNS support fqdn and IPv4, IPv6. Multiple type of domains you can able to use it. With multiple domains we can able to configure in a DNS server. Multiple domains we can create. Domain does not mean our domain. Domain, it is only naming structure. Domain names it will support. So meaning is different. Okay. So we can create a different domains database. Different domains. Multiple domain databases. Again, domain database also meaning is different. Records. Records is easy. Okay. So DNS support fqdn, IPv4 and IPv6. It's a hierarchical structure. DNS is a more hierarchical structure than a Win server. Win server is only for Windows, Microsoft. It is a open protocol. Meaning is works in Windows, Linux, Unix and other operating systems also. Okay. So no control in it. So this is the difference between Wins and DNS. What is Wins? Windows Internet Name Service. It uses NetBios name to IP address concept. No fqdn, only IPv4, no IPv6. You have your own computer name, okay, and computer name is binded to our IP address, right? So what is my IP address like that? I have my own computer name. My laptop has some computer name kind of stuff like that, right? So this name to IP address. This name to IP address is NetBios name. Okay. What is fqdn? Host name and domain name. This is a fully qualified domain name. Fully qualified domain name means host name plus domain name. DNS compared to Wins. It support fqdn, IPv4 and IPv6 also. And it is a open protocol. So you can implement in Windows environment, Linux environment, or any operating system environment you can implement. Next one is we have to explain this hierarchical model. Okay, this model I have to explain. I will explain anyway. Then only we'll go to remaining things. This is a one beautiful diagram. You see. Okay. So that forwarding and all. Okay. Guys, understanding or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So just it is not one point. It is very big story, guys. It will take 10-15 minutes. Not 10-15 minutes. More than 15 minutes it will take. Okay. So I will explain it. Then I will give you a break. Actually, now only I want to give a break, but thing is, it look like it will be started now only. Okay. So story is same for every batch. The story won't changes here. Originally, I told an example like a you don't have an IP address of google.com. So your adapter having a so IP config /all. Yeah, we can go to direct adapter also. But look at here. You have DNS server address, right? So this is your DNS server. Request go to DNS server. DNS server returns IP address of google.com. IP address of google.com. That is the story I told, right? Just for understanding what is a DNS server. Okay, but here it is. The original story, complete story. How DNS works in internet or regular in our regular we are using. So how our DNS like a I open a some page. Okay, I open a tutorials point or a Java T point. I open. How this request like how I got this IP address. How I got this IP address, right? So that is in the our regular internet how it is works. Okay, so that is we discuss first. So then I will tell you about the records. After that one, we'll directly we see in the server. Guys, it is one half day class and like the but we'll see. This is my client computer. Client means normal my computer. It is my computer, my PC. Okay, my PC. In my browser, I put a website called technet.microsoft.com. Usually I will give this example for every batch without a deviation. Technet.microsoft.com. Okay, this is my website I want to open. Now it is removed. It is now docs.microsoft.com. Okay. Now, first of all, what will happen when you given this for the first time? For the first time, you are giving. So you are trying to open a website. So what happened? You are putting a URL in a browser. What happened? You have a browser cache. Cache cookies are there, no? So you can it will try to search in a browser cache or a history IP address of technet.microsoft.com. Okay, it search in a browser cache for IP address of technet.microsoft.com. Okay, technet.max. I have written in a very short form for our understanding only. Next one is search in a file /etc/host file. Okay, so your file is located in the host file. Your file is, this is host file, sorry. This is the host file. Host file is a static record of host file is static record for IP address to names, a name to IP address, whatever it is. Okay, so that is host file. In a Linux, this is a direct location. Unix also, this is a Unix also same location. Windows also same but little lengthy. You have to go to C drive /Windows. This is the location of that folder. Okay, / it is. This is the location. Okay, so we'll go to that location once. We'll go. Okay. Not responding. Wait. Okay, this is the location. C, Windows, System 32, drivers, etc. So this is the host file. You have to open with a notepad. Okay, you can see there is a names and IP address. These are static records. Okay, like this you can able to create it for your local host or remote host or anything. Okay, but you can't put everything in here because every day we are accessing so many type of systems, their IP addresses like that, right? So we can't put everything into host files. There is a thousands of domains are available in the network internet. So you can't put every data here. Okay, for one or two things you can put it for your local servers or anything with the name communication. Okay, certain services only we can able to communicate with a name, but the original point is we can't communicate with the names. We have to communicate with the IP address. So in that time I will use like this, and also we can block the communication from your PC. Whatever it is a static record. It is a host file is a static record. So my PC is trying to search. So when I put this URL, you try to search from the cache, or it is try to search from the host file. If it is didn't find, then what it will do? Then request go to local DNS server. So who is your local DNS server? Your regular router. In our cases, it is our regular router. So it is, can you see, this is my local DNS server. This is my local DNS server. And same for a DHCP, same DNS server, default gateway, meaning is my router is my local DNS server. Okay, so whatever it is your local DNS server. The request go to local DNS server. It is asking like this. technet.microsoft.com IP address. It is asking, I want technet.microsoft.com IP address. To whom it is asking? to local DNS server. The local DNS server also don't know IP address because it is also not a regular, like for every DNS address, every IP address it does not know, right? Maybe. Okay, you don't know the local DNS server also don't know. So finally, your local DNS server forward a request to ISP. In internet, you have internet service provider is there now. Your ISP maintaining a DNS server. The DNS server is called a forwarder. Okay, it is a kind of DNS server. It is called another DNS server. It is a DNS server called as a forwarder. Forwarder. Forwarder contains root domains information. Don't worry guys, again root domain does not mean forest. Root domain, okay, meaning is there is a 13 root domains in the world. Okay, so their information is stores. If you see technet.microsoft.com, end of it there is a dot. So the dot is starting like a root domain. So in this entire world, we have a multiple root domains are there like this. Like this. The names of these things are A, B, C, D, E, F, A, I, G, H kind of stuff only. Okay, this is a root domain. It contains IP addresses of that root domains. For example, A dot something is there, IP address. B's IP address, which is maintained by ICANN. ICANN is maintaining this kind of stuff. Root to domain kind of stuff. ICANN is there, no? ICANN is maintaining root domains like this. You have a root domains. So this dot, the starting with a dot. So the request go to a server, which is nothing but a dot server. Okay, dot server. So it is root. Can be A, B, C, D, E, which is nearest. It will ask like that. Okay, there is a 13 total root domains are there. Okay, so it can be A, it can be B, it can be C, like that, anything. So request is forward to this root domain. Every domain has same data, no problem. Request go to this. I want, what is the request here? I want a IP address of .com. What is this .com? Are a top level domains. Okay, top level domain. What is top level domain? .com, .net, .org, .in, okay, .education. So like this, anything. .co, .in, .co, .xyz, .online, .tv, like this. Okay. Check it. What are the top level domains? So in a root domain, What are the records are there? .com, .org, .in, .net, .tv, .online, .global, like a like lot of things. Government, .education, like a these are all. Enough because length is more. I need more boxes here. So what it is contain? .coms server is there. There is a .com server. .com servers IP address. .com .org server IP address. .in server IP address. .net IP address. .tv IP address. Just for examples. There's several top level domains are. Earlier days we have only four. I think four only there. That is .com, .org, .net, and .government, .education, like that. It is on very few. Now we have a lot of things. You can go to any domain registration sites. Okay, domain registration sites. You can go to that one. GoDaddy, Big Rocks. Okay, you can go or domains.google.com. Okay, namecheap.com. Okay, so you can go to that one. So you can find .com, how much cost, .in, how much cost. It's only domain name registration, not hosting. Okay, here also you can search for a new domain. Yes, it is. So .com, .net, .org, .in, .info, all endings. So .xyz, .app, .online, .me, .net, .store, LLC, like this. Okay, .site, .biz, .tech, .design, .co.in, .computer, digital. Okay, so like that you can able to relevance or price. The standard this is page more secure. So starting cost is 720 rupees. This is 790 rupees. Okay, like this. This is also same thing. Namecheap.com. So .tech, .co, .net, like this. So .com is cheaper than anything or what? Okay, like this. These are all different DNS servers, top level domains. So what is this? This is called a top level domains. Guys, understand what is top level domain meaning is? Top level domains information you can find in a root domain. You can find in a root domain. So what I want? .com IP address. So it will give you IP address of .com. Yes, do you understand up to here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So from our system to local DNS server, request goes, I want IP address of technet.microsoft.com. The technet.microsoft.com also not found in a local DNS server. Then what it will do? The request go to forwarder that is maintained by ISP provider. This is at ISP. So in our local, we don't have much DNS, anything we can't maintain. They'll maintain the data of the root domain information. There is a 13 root domains are there, 13 root domain IP addresses. And the request go to any nearest root domains to find a top level domain. Top level domains are .com, .org, .net, .in, .tv, .education, or like that. It is .online, .site, xyz, .page is also there, right? So I got a .com address. Look at here. It is first dot, then .com. Next is Microsoft. Next request go to .com. Request go to .com server. So what is the request? Like this. Because we know the IP address of .com. We know the IP address of .com. So I send a request. I want Microsoft.com IP address. I want Microsoft.com IP address. Just for understanding, guys. I want Microsoft.com IP address. In the .com, there is a lot of .coms are there, right? So Microsoft.com, Google.com, Facebook.com, okay, Yahoo.com, W3Schools.com, like this. Several .coms are there, and their servers or DNS servers, okay, their machines, IP addresses also there. So IP address of Google.com, Facebook.com, thus the space will be reduced. Okay, IP address of Microsoft.com, Google.com, Facebook.com, stores in .com. That's why we are paying money. Store your record in the .com. So finally, I got IP address, right? I will get an IP address. So of a Microsoft.com. Next, I reach Microsoft.com. Okay, so for example, Microsoft.com. Okay, so I reach Microsoft.com because I know the IP address of Microsoft.com. I know the IP address of Microsoft.com. And I send a request. I want this technet dot Microsoft.com IP address. Okay. So obviously Microsoft.com may have a DNS server contains so many things. Either it is like a technet.microsoft.com, docs.microsoft.com, right? Downloads.microsoft.com. Maybe we can say what we can say. Yeah, that is enough because it's a space is not there. their IP addresses. A lot of sites are there, no? Azure.microsoft.com, office.com. Okay. We can lot of things are there. MVEA, Microsoft Virtual Academy, Microsoft Virtual Academy, Microsoft.com. So like that, lot of sites are there. Okay. So here it is. My request go to Microsoft.com DNS server. It is asking, I want IP address of technet.microsoft.com. Finally, we got a IP address of technet.microsoft.com. So what happened for the technet.microsoft.com request, right? So IP address forward got the IP address and return the IP address to local DNS server, technet.microsoft.com IP address. Next, the local DNS server forward the IP address to okay, so forwarder returns IP address of technet.microsoft.com to local DNS server. The local DNS server returns the IP address of technet.microsoft.com. Now I got IP address. So wherever the server is located, so we'll communicate with IP address. I'll communicate with IP address. It is I draw directly the logically like a we don't require any DNS server now. So I'll communicate to technet.microsoft.com with IP address. Okay. Okay. I can communicate to the technet.microsoft.com with IP address. So this is the full story, guys. Initially, you don't know what is the IP address of technet.microsoft.com. Then you send a request to local DNS server. Local DNS server send a request to forwarder. Forwarder start searching for a dot root, find out what is the IP address of com, top level domains. So once it is got the IP address of .com server, it is send a request for a .com server about a Microsoft.com IP address. Once it is got a Microsoft.com IP address, it send a request to Microsoft.com server about a technet.microsoft.com. So to finally get the IP address of technet.microsoft.com, forward that IP address to local DNS server to our local PC. Now I got IP address, so I will communicate with the IP address. So this is how your IP address, how you got IP address of particular machine. Okay, there is a few more things are there. So to write it, it is called the communication. This is called iterative query. This is called a iterative query. You don't, it's not visible also. It's okay, I will show you that one in another slides. Look at here, guys. This is the domain name server1.sales.south.contoso.com. So many subdomains are there. Root domain, under root, top level domains information, under top level domains. So means one of the domain is .com, contoso.com. So find out the contoso.com address as a second level domain. So Microsoft.com is a second level domain. If in case in that one any subdomains are there, like a south, west, east, like that. So you can see, find out south address, then sales address. Finally, our host name is server 1. Same thing here it is explained how root server works, what are the queries, and how root hints. Root hints. What is root hints? Root hints are nothing but a root DNS server's IP address. Root hints are nothing but a root DNS server's IP address. But this is the forwarded picture, which is I just explained you to. Okay, so here it is. Example, they have taken mail1.contoso.com from client to server, local DNS server to forwarder. Forwarder reads the root hint, means root DNS server using root hints, reach the root DNS server and find out the .com address. And once it is found the .com address, it go to .com server, ask for a contoso, and get the information of contoso.com, then request go to contoso.com, ask for a mail1.contoso.com IP address. Guys, you can look at here, iterative, recursive, iterative, recursive. So what is iterative? Means half of question. You don't know full answer. You are not getting full answer from anyone. What you will do? Will ask, like you want to reach railway station or a bus stop. You are new to that place. What we will do? We'll ask, Bhaiya, how to go to railway station. Okay, and again you will ask someone. Again you will ask. So like it is iterative query. First we go to root, then .com, then contoso, right? That is called a iterative query. But client is getting a complete answer. So that is called a recursive query. Client asks, I want mail1.contoso.com IP address. Client get IP address of mail1.contoso.com. That type of query, call it as a recursive query. So like this. This is recursive query. This is a recursive query. This is iterative query. Iterative query. Next, authoritative response. What is authoritative response? Look at here. Authoritative response means you got information from original location, means actually my DNS or original person is asking question. Like you ask me a question, I gave you an answer. The question is belongs to technical. You ask something, sir, what is DNS server? I given a answer. Okay, so that is called a recursive query and as well as authoritative response, of course, from authorized person. You want to know about your interview. Just you ask Charan sir. Charan sir given a reply. Then it is authoritative response. You ask someone is asked another one. Finally, it is reached to me and me to Charan sir. So you are getting information from your local DNS server, from caches, from host files. These are all called non-authoritative response. So recursive query, but non-authoritative response. That's it for this, guys. Very big one. Huh? Don't worry, there is a lot of big things will come. Understand diagram, right?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Very good. So that's it. Take a break, guys. 10-15 minutes. Come back at 12:35. So we'll finish the remaining part. Okay.